Welcome and thank you all for attending a new mobile experience. This webinar is going to cover what we've changed with Tigerpaw Mobile. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about what we're going to cover within the next hour. The first session, or the first topic that we're going to talk about is the updated mobile interface. We've transformed the entire interface. It's now much more user-friendly, as well as it's speedier and quicker, and it's a lot easier to use. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cover the basics of the new interface. After we do that, I'm going to talk about the new account and sales functionality. Now this is a big one. We've added the ability to manage accounts, add accounts, contacts, also create and manage opportunities, all from the mobile app. This is huge for sales professionals. But don't worry, we didn't forget about you service technicians out there. We've also enhanced the service functionality. From the get-go, Tigerpaw Mobile was all about streamlining service processes, and we've made it even better in this new release. And then the last thing that I'll kind of wrap up with is some technical improvements. You'll notice as we go through the webinar that you'll notice a lot of these improvements as we go through the webinar, but at the end I'll kind of summarize some of the things that you can expect if you upgrade to this version of Tigerpaw Mobile. So with that said, let's go ahead and switch over to my mobile device, and I will show you what we've done. So right now I'm running this on a iPhone 6, so it does work with iOS, of course, but it also works with Android, and the interface is the same. I want to make sure everybody understands that right off the bat. So what we're looking at is the new agenda page. When you sign in to Tigerpaw Mobile, you are now taken to this page. This page has a lot of information, so I want to start on the top and work my way down. First of all, on the very top here, we have the, there we go. And let's go ahead and full screen that because I do want 100% of focus on this. All right. There we go. All right. So, first of all, we have the date. Now, there's a few things. Before, you would have to go kind of left and right and choose a date that way, but I want to show you a few things as far as navigating your agenda. The agenda view, by the way, is a detailed view of everything that is assigned to you. So when you're working in Tigerpaw Mobile, you can open up the agenda page and see everything that you need to do for a given day. But you can also navigate to other days. So for example, if I go up to the top and I can click on the left and right arrows right up here, and those will actually take me month by month. But I can also tap on the actual date, and it'll give me the ability to select the date I want to go to. So that's very nice. You can actually go to the different days that you want to look at, and you can span the entire year if you want. And where that comes in handy is we now have the ability up here to create a new task straight from the agenda. So if you need to schedule a follow-up for a client, you can easily do so now from this agenda page. Moving down, we have every single day for the month. So if we scroll left and right, we can see all of the days, and you can easily go to the day that you want to go to. Right now, I'm looking on January 15th. I'm looking at the 28th, and I have some things to do today. So the bottom portion of the agenda is going to outline exactly what I have scheduled, and these icons actually mean something. It's important to note. So on the top portion, we're going to look at all of the scheduled items, all the times that we have to do something today. The first thing I have to do is a service order related task. How do I know this? I know this because of the little screwdriver icon right here. I also know that this is a to-do. How do I know that? Well, we have different icons for phone calls, appointments, and to-dos. So this icon right now tells me that this is a to-do. And lastly, this is a high priority to do, and I know that because of the red exclamation point in the top left there. So that hasn't changed too much since the last version. If you understood what those icons meant before, you understand what those icons mean now. For those of you that are new to Tigerpaw Mobile, that is how we tell the difference between the different kinds of tasks that we have scheduled for any given day. Now, I could click on that and go start work on that job, and I'm going to do that, but not right now. I want to talk about the other options that we have on this agenda view. So moving down, we have this next task. It looks like I have a task scheduled. I did keep it at military time because I wanted to let you guys know that you can choose military time or you can choose normal time. So if you want a 24-hour clock, you can have a 24-hour clock, and if you want a 12-hour clock, you can have a 12-hour clock. Now I have an appointment scheduled at this time. Now the appointment I know because of the handshake. That's the icon that signifies that this is an appointment. That means I have to go somewhere. And I also see here that this is tied to an opportunity. Opportunities can be now handled within Tigerpaw Mobile. So Tigerpaw Mobile is equally beneficial to those of you in the sales profession as well as those of you on the service tech side. And we'll talk more about opportunities a little bit later in the webinar, but I did want to touch on the fact that you can now see your tasks that are scheduled for opportunities. Now, below the scheduled items, I have tasks without times. These are things that I have to do at some point in time today. That's what's going on down there. So I have to call Baxley Law. It looks like it's a phone call. That's signified by the little phone icon. So I have to call them at some point in time today. There's no time tied to that phone call. Doesn't look like it's service related. Doesn't look like it's an opportunity related task. It's just a phone call that I need to make. It's tied to the account. So everything that you have to do for any given day will be displayed on our newly designed agenda page. And you'll even notice on the bottom I have some overdue tasks. Those are tasks that haven't been completed. So from the mobile application, your techs and your sales professionals, even those that are traveling and out in the field, have the ability to keep up on their tasks. Now I had mentioned that we redesigned the interface, and you can already kind of see some of the redesign. It's a lot more fluid. It's a lot quicker. Additionally, in the banner, we have this little icon, 3 bars. It's a universal menu icon. You see that in a lot of apps and in a lot of web pages. If you tap on that, you will actually open up our menu. The other thing that we can do, and this is my personal favorite, by the way, is just swiping from left to right. So if I swipe from left to right, I access my menu, which kind of gives us an idea of everything that Tigerpaw Mobile can now do. First of all, that's how you can get back to the agenda from anywhere in mobile. Agenda is the top option. Next, we have a new view. It's called the dashboard view. Now, the dashboard view is very useful regardless of whether you are a service technician or a sales professional. The dashboard view allows you to see all of your open tasks, all of your overdue tasks, tasks that have occurred in the past that are not complete. From a sales perspective, you can see your sales metrics. So we can see how many sales we closed month to date. That's MTD. We have our quota that's set up as a rep record inside Tigerpaw. And then we have an analyzation of our opportunities that we have currently out. And it looks like this month I have the opportunity to sell $7,000 worth of product, and it looks like next month I have the opportunity to sell $17,500 worth of product. And it knows this because it looks at the estimated close dates on my opportunities. For those of you that are comfortable with Tigerpaw's opportunity management within the application itself, you understand that. And you now have the ability to keep track of that in one view. You also have the ability to easily access all of your open opportunities in a list view format. And below that, if you are a service technician, you have the ability to review how many hours you've logged today, how many hours you've logged month to date, MTD, as well as you can access all of the new service orders that have been created for you regardless of whether they're scheduled yet. You can access all of your open service orders regardless of whether they're scheduled. So you can see a list of all of the service orders that you have currently in your name that are open. And then we have a little summary down here that outlines how many service orders have been opened month to date, how many service orders have been closed month to date. We also have open and closed year to date analytics on the bottom. Now, one of the questions that I get is, hey, will my service people have to always see the sales information? Will my sales people have to see the service information? And the answer to that question is no. It really depends on what you're logging into and what role you play within your company and what they've assigned you to log into from a mobile platform standpoint. So this dashboard is going to give you the important information that you need to stay on top of your workload. So that's the first, that's one of the major new enhancements that we've made, one of the major new views that we've made. Now if I swipe from left to right again, I'm going to open up my handy dandy menu and I'm going to move down the list. The third option that we have on this list is accounts. Now you can easily search your entire database for any account that you wish to find. And you can search by account name, contact, telephone, and email. Once you find the account, it will display below the search field. It will also keep a detailed track of your history. What accounts have you looked at in mobile? What accounts have you looked at in Tigerpaw? If you were looking at an account before you went out on site, that account would be in your history, and therefore your history will display here. So you can easily access accounts that you frequently view or that you have viewed for the day. You can easily access the history of accounts that you've searched for as well. So to kind of show you what we've done here, if I tap on one of these accounts, I'm going to be taken to the account detail view. Now the account detail view is going to show me a lot of information. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. First of all, we have the little pencil icon on the top right. This icon right here actually allows us to edit this account. So if we go on site and realize that something is wrong, we can edit the account, we can make any changes that we need to, and those will be reflected back in Tigerpaw. The icon right below the pencil looks like a little map with a push pin. It's going to open up and link to our mapping service. So when you click on that, it will open up Google Maps on your phone, on your mobile device, and it will automatically put in this client's address, and you can get directions to easily access, to easily get to their office. If you need to make a phone call, you can tap on the phone icon right down here next to the phone numbers. And that's going to instantly make a call so that you can let them know if you're running late, or if you need to reschedule, or if you just want to verify the meeting is still on. If you get on site and you realize that you have additional people you want to add to your database, that's easy. All you have to do is click on this little button right here, the little person with the plus, and that's going to take you to a new contact view where you'll be able to add new contacts to this account. You'll also be able to review existing contacts. Kaylee is an existing contact. And if you click on Kaylee, you will be taken to the contact view, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Moving down, all the important things from the desktop client of Tigerpaw are found here, like hot notes. So the hot note here is going to let you know any important information that you should probably be aware of, and you can enter that here. You can add to the hot note here, you can review the hot note here, and of course it's typically added back at Tigerpaw, but this keeps you all on the same page. And then we also have a summary of all tasks that are scheduled for this account, all opportunities that have been created for this account, a list view of all open service orders for this account, past due tasks for this account, related accounts. So if you work with multi-site companies, you can find one of them and you can click on related accounts and see a list of all of the accounts that are related, all of their other sites. And then journal notes. You now have full access to Tigerpaw's account journal within the mobile interface. Need to go ahead and schedule a follow-up. Maybe that meeting went really well. They want you to come back out next week to finalize some stuff. Easy. Just go ahead and tap schedule follow-up. From a service technician side, if you need to add a service order to this job, that's pretty simple. Just tap add service order. And lastly, if you're a sales professional and you're kind of going out onto a site, you're not exactly sure what's going on here, and then you find out that this is a perfect opportunity, you want to add this opportunity to Tigerpaw and work it through your sales cycle, simple, just go ahead and tap add opportunity. And then lastly, you go on site and you need to add to the journal, or you can access the journal if you want to by tapping on the little icon of the journal. You can also access it from the summary section previously mentioned. But you can now easily and quickly add a note on how that meeting went. You can select from your available actions, your available topics, what contact on site you met with, and how that meeting went, and any other information that you would normally want to log to the journal. As long as you, as soon as you enter that information, it will update Tigerpaw. So people back at the office that are running the Tigerpaw desktop application will easily be able to access the journal here. So that's all the stuff that we can do from the account standpoint. Now, I mentioned that we can now also create, add, manage, and search for contacts. And I could easily go into the contact view by just tapping on Kaylee Quinn. But what I'm going to show you is 9 out of 10 times you may be at a training, not a training, but a trade show or some other sort of networking event, and you may run into somebody and you may want to search for their name, but you're not exactly sure what company they're with. That's okay. Just go ahead and swipe from left to right to open up our menu and tap on the fourth option here, which is Contacts. From here, we can search by first name, last name, telephone, and email. The same thing happens that happened when you were searching for accounts, whereas your history within Tigerpaw will be reflected in the lower portion of this screen. But if you don't have that there, of course, you can search. Now, one thing that I mentioned is that if you need to add a brand new contact or you need to add a brand new account, when you're in the search view, if you click on the plus up here, you can instantly add. So you can add information here if you need to. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute as well. There's another function that you can easily access to add without having to click on the search. But if you want to look at a contact, you simply tap on the contact that you want to look at after searching for it, and it will open up the Contact Details tab. Here you'll be able to see her name and title, what company she works for, and if you need to access that company, you can easily click on the little icon of the building right here, and you can go right to that company, and that would take you to the view that we were just looking at. You have all of their phone numbers, and you can easily dial any of those phone numbers by tapping on the phone icon. You can email the client if you need to from your mobile device. When you tap on the little email icon, it will open up your default email app and allow you to type up an email to them. And then you actually have a summary of open tasks, opportunities, service orders, any past due tasks, and journal notes that have been written specifically for this contact. If you need to schedule a follow-up task for this contact, you can easily do so by tapping on Schedule Follow-up. And you can easily add a journal note to this contact by adding the appropriate action topic and entering it in a note. Now, action and topics, just like in the desktop application, are not required, but it does help with organization. And you'll notice that the third bar there that said, what contact did you talk to, is not there. Why? Well, that's because I'm looking at the contact and I'm writing a journal note for Barb, in this case, based on a conversation I had with Barb. If you need to edit the contact, you can do so by hitting the pencil icon on the top right. So far, we've talked about the agenda, what we have to do for the day. We've talked about the dashboard, a review of our metrics from a sales and from a service perspective. We've talked about accounts and how we can now search for any account in our database. We talked about contacts and how we can search for any contact in our database. And in those two sections of Tigerpaw Mobile, we also talked about the ability to edit and review information pertaining to that account and contact. Now, the fifth icon here is opportunities. And this is a really big thing. This is really cool. For those of you that are sales professionals that travel a lot, for those of you that go to a lot of trade shows, networking events, lunch-ons, as well as for those of you that go out and do door-to-door or that kind of sales, you can now update information straight from the mobile app. You don't have to take a whole bunch of notes that you might not be able to read later or anything like that. You can add information straight from here, especially when it pertains to an opportunity. Now, you already saw within the accounts view, within the contacts view, where you could add opportunities if you pulled up the account first. But let's say that you want to work your opportunities. You want to see what opportunities you have. When you tap on the opportunity, the first thing you can do is you can search. If you know the name of the opportunity, you can search by opportunity name, but you can also search by any opportunities for an account or for a contact. So this is how you can easily identify what opportunities you have out there so that you can update them with new information based on the last meeting that you had with the client. So I have an opportunity out here for Siberian Tiger IT, and I'm going to go ahead and tap on that to be taken to the new opportunity view. Now right on the top of the opportunity view you have a won loss button. So if you know by going out there that you either won this sale or you lost it, then you could easily update that from here. But you also have the ability to review other information pertaining to this opportunity. So I know what company it is, and if I need to access that company's information, I can easily access that company's information by tapping on the building icon right here. I have the contact information, so the person that I am working with to try to make this sale. I have Kaylee on there, and if I need to access her information, I can easily tap on the little person icon right there. Now below this, we have a summary of the opportunity fields. So for those of you that are familiar with Tigerpaw's opportunity form within the desktop client, you'll recognize a lot of these fields. The owner, well, of course, I am the owner of this opportunity. What type of opportunity is this? If everything goes well, what is the best case amount of money that I can bring in from this opportunity? Where does it stand from a probability standpoint? Where did this opportunity come from? Is this opportunity open, closed, on hold? What status is this opportunity? What stage in the process is this opportunity in? Who is my competition, and what is my next step? What am I supposed to do next for this opportunity? The expected amount, of course, in this case, is $5,200. That's how much I expect to make. If everything goes well, I could bring in 12 grand, but I expect $5,200 out of this sale. You can see all open tasks. You can see any past due tasks, and you can also access journal notes pertaining to this opportunity. You can schedule a follow-up task for what you need to do next on this opportunity. That would, of course, remind you by showing up on your agenda when the day and time comes. And you can add journal notes straight to the account from here. Now, let's say that you want to edit some of this information. You go on site and you realize, oh, cool, you know what? I can move this forward into a stage. I can maybe increase the probability because this sale went really well. You can edit that information by tapping on the pencil icon up on the top right, and you will be taken to the Edit Opportunity view. In the Edit Opportunity view, you can change things like the name, the expected amount, the best case, the worst case, the probability, and the close by date. If any of that information changes, you can change it right from your mobile app. Underneath that, we have, you can adjust the lead source, stage, status, type, any competition. You can type in notes straight to the opportunity. That'll just appear on the opportunity form within Tigerpaw. And you can type in what that next step might be, and then you can save it. And if you were creating a brand new opportunity, you would first find the account, and then you would go ahead and create the opportunity by filling in this form. Now, the little icon right here on the top section is going to tell you that you can go back. So we can go back if we need to the opportunity details, and we can review this information, add notes, do whatever you need to do from here. So that's the new opportunity management. I do not believe there is anything missing from the opportunity tracking perspective that we've added to the system. This is absolutely great, and I think salespeople are really going to enjoy this. But we're not done yet. Let's go ahead and swipe from left to right again and open up our little menu. And now we have the last thing on here, which is tasks. Now, tasks are going to actually bring up, in a list view format, all of the tasks that you have out for you. That's what tasks does. Just like this. So you can filter this if you need to filter the tasks. You want to look for, the date that they were complete. You want to look at a priority. Maybe you want to order them by date, just normal, like the date in which they need to occur. And you can also choose what you want to display if you need to. When you tap on a task, you are taken to the task detail. This is the task detail. You'll notice on the top we have the ability here to link it to an SO. So we can access the SO straight from here from the task perspective as well. And we're going to get to this in just a moment when we bridge the gap into the service enhancements that we've made. But let's go ahead and go back to the main menu, and I want to talk about some of these other options first. The add with the ellipsis. Second to last icon in the top half of the menu. If we click on that, this is how you can quickly add an account, a contact, an opportunity, a task. You can quickly add service orders now within the mobile app, and a time slip if you need to track time not pertaining to a job. If you want to add any information, you simply tap on what you want to add, and you are then taken to the new account view. In this case, because I tapped on new account, I can put in all of the information that I need to put in. Now for the items over here within the add menu that require that you add something to something else, for example, if I tap on to add an opportunity, it's going to say, well, let's find the account that we want to add the opportunity to first. And then it takes you to the new opportunity view where you fill in the information pertaining to that opportunity and schedule any tasks, update the journal, so on and so forth. So you can quickly add that information if it is not already in your database. Now, what some of you have been waiting for is the service side of the equation. So if we go ahead and tap on service, we're going to have the ability to easily see an expense list view, a service order list view, and a time entry list view. So you can see all the service orders that are assigned to you, all the expenses that you've entered, and any time that you've entered all in one view. But from a scheduling perspective, we're going to go back to the agenda, because the agenda is really where it starts from a service process standpoint. So what we have here is we have the agenda, and remember, I have to go out and do a network upgrade for One Stop Dental. There's a to-do there. I'm going to go ahead and tap on that to-do, and I am taken to the service order process view. This is a customized view for mobile that facilitates the process of working a service order. So what we have here is we have One Stop Dental up on the top here. We have their address, which you can tap on. That's why it's underlined. And you will be taken to Google Maps for directions to their site. And then you have a phone number underneath that, which you can easily tap to access the phone and dial their phone number. So if you were driving on site and you were running late or something, you could easily tap on that phone number and go. You have the service order number over there on the right side, and then you also have the brief description of the service order listed underneath that, and the icon up there says what kind of job this is. So this is a to-do. I may not have to go to One Stop Dental on site, but I may need to remote in or do something like that to fix this. Maybe it's not even a phone call. That's why this is a to-do. So the first thing I want to do is, if I did have to travel, I could start a travel time. Now I could put in my odometer start, say I had a brand new car, and it's going to start travel time. Now on the way there, maybe I'm like, oh man, I'm really tired. I stayed up really late last night. I need to stop by and pick up some coffee from Starbucks. If you charge for travel time, I don't know that you would necessarily want to charge for waiting in the Starbucks drive-through to get your coffee fix. So you could easily just open up the app and pause the time there if you need to. And then when you start on your way again, you can start up the travel timer again, so you get an accurate representation of the time. What that's actually doing on the back end is when you pause time, it is starting a timer for the deduction. So you're still going to know that it took your tech 38 minutes to get on site, but you're only going to bill the client for 30 of those minutes because they had to, pick up breakfast or something on the way there. And in the next small update to the mobile app, what we're going to do is we're going to add the ability to start and stop multiple timers so that you for travel. Right now, we did enhance this, however, though. You can now track your return trip. And the way that we did that is when you get on site and you're ready to go ahead and start work, you're going to start your work timer. And that'll automatically say, hey, will you put in your end odometer, how, I went 2 miles, let's say, and it'll auto-calculate the distance and you're done. So you can track mileage. Mileage is not forced. You can set that within the Tigerpaw application on whether you want to track mileage or not. But now I've started a new time log for the work that I'm doing. So now I could close this app and I could go and I could do all the work that I need to do. And when I'm done with that, I can come back and I can click on the stop button in the middle there. And what that's going to do is that's actually going to stop the timer, and I'm going to select a reason from the drop-down. So what I'm going to do is I need to select what I did out there. So maybe I did some remote support, or I did, just basic service work. When I click Done, then I can type in or dictate what I did. So I can say something like, updated the server, right? And then I can click on OK, and that will update the work performed on the service order. That will close that time log, selecting the appropriate reason. And look what it did. It opened up the start timer from the travel again, so that now I can track my travel time back to the office. But before I'm ready to leave, I may want to review some things within the service order. So we can click on the Update button within the service section of this form right here, and we can update some information. So I can update things like the brief description, work requested, the work performed, which would automatically be updated by entering that time. I have some internal comments. If I find something on site and I'm like, I need to make sure the company knows about this, but I don't necessarily want the customer to see this on the printed service order or on the service order that we email them, or if you have the customer portal through the portal. So internal comments only appear for your other employees. You have a list of all time that was spent on this job, and you can add a time log manually here if you need to. You have the ability to see all of the expenses that have been logged, and you have the ability to add one manually here if you need to. You can add parts to the job. So did you use any parts? And if you did, you can add them. Item serviced. If you went on site and you realized that you had to service an item, you can add an item serviced. And when you add an item serviced, you can pull from your price book, or you can pull from the customer asset library that is stored within Tigerpaw. So if you go out on site to reset the server and whoever made the service order didn't attach the server to the service order, you could easily do that from the mobile app. If you went out with more than one person, you can add multiple technicians to the job. You can review who's the primary technician, as signified by the little flag, the little badge with the check mark. You can adjust, you can review when the service order was created and at what time. You can also review the requested date when the client was expecting this to get done, when you opened it, of course, and then when you closed it. And speaking of changing statuses, if you go on site and you're not able to finish the job, you don't want to close the service order, you may want to reschedule it. So you may want to put this back on the dispatch board for your dispatcher back at home base. So what you would do is you would just update the status from here, and you can do that from the mobile application. So if I needed to go ahead and reschedule that, I could easily change this information here. And then lastly, we have contact information. So if you need to change your point of contact for this service order, you can. So there's a lot of information that you can change from here. So from our service order perspective, we have definitely enhanced those processes. So all right. So let's go ahead and navigate back to the main menu. And let's talk a little bit about some of these additional options down here. If you need any help, if you need to pull up a user guide, for example, for mobile, if you're a technician, well, you can easily access the mobile formatted user guide to review anything that you need to. If you get an email that says that you got a new service order assigned to you through our workflow engine, you can easily refresh the page data if you're just looking at the agenda to see that pop through instantaneously. The next time that agenda loads, it will, of course, but if you go to it and you don't see the service order that you were assigned, you can refresh the page data. You can also refresh all data if you want to. That's a quick little easy way to pull up anything new that was just scheduled for you. Debug mode will not display on yours, and then the logout function when you're done using the mobile application. So from this service order, if I was done with all of the information for the service order itself, I would be taken back to the One Stop Dental home screen, and it seems like I have a little bit of a lag between my screen sharing application. Let me try to fix that for y'all. There we go. Perfect. So I'm back at the One Stop Dental home screen, and I've finished my work and I've updated the service order. Now I can actually track my return trip back. So, you know, if I remember right, this was a new car. I had 2 miles to get out there. Now I can go ahead and track how long it takes me to drive back to the office. And then once I'm back to the office, I can, of course, stop that time. The way that you would stop that time is right now you would start at work and you would basically say, hey, there's some information there for that. But by the time that will be updated very soon to actually have a stop button so it's easier to operate. But working a service order, as you've seen here, has gotten quite a lot quicker. That little notification on the top, I did that on purpose, a view active timer. So if you have any active timers going on for any service orders, you will see them up there. So even while that timer is going, you can navigate to an account, you can look at other information, and you can go through that perspective. And then once you determine that, oh, I need to go finish that timer, you can tap on it and that will take you back there and you can finish out the timer. So that's pretty cool as well. And that's something that we did not have before. So, to just kind of wrap up before we take any questions that have come through, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we covered, and I'm going to wrap up with some of the technical enhancements that we've made. So first of all, we went ahead and we went through the entire mobile interface. We went through all of the new features. You can now search and maintain accounts, contacts, opportunities. If those of you that are new to Tigerpaw aren't familiar with the difference between an account and an opportunity, because all of your accounts may be opportunities in your mind, let me just kind of shed some light on that. First of all, and this has to do with the new account and sales functionality. First of all, an opportunity is an opportunity to sell something to an account. It's a separate form, and it's used from a salesperson perspective of tracking what sales opportunities they have sitting out there waiting. You may have a lot of accounts, a lot of prospects, but they may not all be opportunity material. So opportunities are actually a dedicated sales tracking tool that we've built into Tigerpaw, and now it's available on mobile. And for everybody, the benefit of being able to search for any account in your system is pivotal and very important. You can look and you can update information straight from the mobile app based on what's going on that front. We've also enhanced the service order functionality. We've added additional timer options. So now when you do your travel timer, you're not just tracking travel to the site. You can also, if you choose, wish to track travel back home. When you add when you go to end a timer, it will pop up and it will give you the ability to select the reason and also type in what you did, which will automatically update the work performed on the service order. And it gives you the ability to create multiple timers for the same service order for different kinds of work. If you spent the first hour provisioning the server and the second hour configuring the server, and there's different price points for that, you can definitely will accommodate that within the mobile app. And lastly, when you have an active timer going, you will see it on the top of the view no matter where you are, so you can easily and quickly access back to it to close that timer out when you are done doing work. But if you need to access anything else from Tigerpaw Mobile or from Tigerpaw, then you don't have to worry about leaving that view. Now, some of the other things that did not change from the previous version of Tigerpaw is we have the ability to take a signature. So when you're done with the work, you can explain what you did. You might want to show them some of the work performed. And if they're happy, if the client is happy with that, you can have them sign it. You can take a picture of what's going on. If there's a mess and it's going to take you a little bit longer to configure the server because their server room is in utter chaos, then you can take a picture of that and upload it as a document attached to the service order so that people can review it. And you can justify the extra time that it took. We have access still to the password keeper. So if you have server passwords, any router passwords, SSID passwords, you can easily access those from the mobile app. And there's an added layer of security on that front, whereas you have to type in your password to the mobile app again, just in case somebody snags your phone. Your customer-sensitive information is not at risk. And then you have the ability to look up from one service order the entire service history of that account. So you can see other service jobs and review them from the mobile app. Those were things that were always been around. I did want to make sure that everyone understood that those things did not go anywhere. But we've enhanced the overall functionality. And lastly, you've noticed it as I've been working through the application. Response times have been greatly increased, so it's much faster than it ever was before. And when you do log in, it logs in a lot faster than it ever did before. So not only did we add all of this new functionality and open up an entirely separate new department to your company to mobile, but we also made it faster, easier to navigate, and easier to use. So that concludes the presentation portion of this webinar, where we went over all the main features, kind of gave you a rundown of what's new and what's hot with the new version of mobile. It truly is a new mobile experience for those of you that have used Tigerpaw Mobile in the past, and it has far more it's far more useful for more people within your organization. Now, with that said, I'm going to take any of the questions, or as many questions as I can, that came through while we were giving the presentation. So let's see here. All right. So does that mean that there are no other releases right now? Well, from a mobile perspective, this is the newest release of mobile, and we did take off the old version, so you will want to upgrade to this when you get a chance. Now, if you've already downloaded it, it's still going to be in your transaction history. If you've downloaded the old version, it's still going to work, but you're going to want to upgrade Tigerpaw to the newest release, which is 14.121 if you want to use this. And then you do want to upgrade your mobile. And support can help you with that if you are an existing customer. It's not a hard process to do. Is there or will there be support for Windows phones? Right now, we took some polls. Right now, Windows Phone compatibility is not something that we're supporting. There's some things they won't let us access, some of the information that we need to access in order to make that work. That's not to say that won't change down the road, but that's a very important point, and I'm glad that you brought that up. We do not support Windows Mobile at this time. Is the proper app to download called Tigerpaw Mobile, or do they have other versions? It's called Tigerpaw Mobile when you go to download it, so you don't have to worry about that. And the icon, by the way, just so you guys know, let me show my screen again real quick. The icon has changed, so you make sure that you're getting the right one. The icon actually now looks like this. So it's not that dark red, it's actually a little bit of an updated, kind of a shinier icon. How customizable is the dashboard view and how to do it? Well, the dashboard view, so I'm going to go back to that really quick. The dashboard view is really set with some key KPIs, and you can't really change what's on the dashboard view right now. It's going to just show important things that a salesperson would want to know and important things that a service technician would want to know, and it has links to the important documents like service orders and opportunities. I don't know that there's a need to edit this, but if you have any ideas on enhancements or other things that you would like to see within this dashboard view, we would gladly take that under consideration. Remember that I mentioned when when you're signed into, like, let's say that you were signed into service and not sales, then you wouldn't see the sales stuff. And if you were signed into sales and not service, then you wouldn't see the service stuff. The licensing structure works the same on mobile as it does from on your Tigerpaw application. So if somebody signs in to mobile, it'll be just like they signed in at their desktop. So whatever they sign into by default there, or whatever they choose to sign into when they sign into mobile, will dictate what displays on this dashboard. That's a good question. Okay, that's a good question. Another question on the dashboard. On the service side, we have closed month to date, and that actually just signifies what service orders have you've finished. Not necessarily invoiced, but that are done, that you've completed, because you have to remember that from a service technician, they're responsible for completing the work, and when they complete the work, they're going to close the order, and they want to see how many orders they've closed. So that's a good question. I'm glad that you asked that. How many accounts can be viewed on history? That's a good question. If we go to search for something, typically it would be the last 50, and I'm not sure if we shorten that for data purposes on this, but typically the last 50 of any one item would be displayed within Tigerpaw, and so it may be cut down a little bit from that, but it's probably close. It's a good question. Can account editing be controlled by other security settings? That's a great question. All of the integrated security options that you have to set within Tigerpaw that would inhibit people from editing accounts within the desktop application transfer over to the mobile application. So if they don't have the right to do something, they won't have the right to do it in mobile. Great question. Can we change the link to Google Maps to the Waze app? You know, that's really awesome because I just started using the Waze app not too long ago, and I absolutely love it. Right now, it's actually hard-coded into Google, but I will take that under consideration because I think it would be nice to be able to link to other applications. That's a great idea. I'll make sure that gets into our feedback loop. Thanks for bringing that up. Can you make it so text cannot edit customer information? Yes, you can. Kind of goes back to the other question that I answered. Anything that you would not allow a tech to do within the desktop client, that security will transfer over to the mobile application. How do we get the latest version? You download it from the store. It is a new app. As you can see, we changed quite a bit of it, so it's a brand new app. It's called Tigerpaw Mobile. You're going to download that from iOS or Play stores, and then you're going to need to update your Tigerpaw to version 14.1.21. That's available on our downloads page right now. Part of the one. Otherwise, it's only going to use the information that is supported by the current version of Tigerpaw that you have installed. So you may not have the additional features and functionality sets that I'm showing you. So make sure that you do update your mobile API and your Tigerpaw, your actual version of Tigerpaw that you have running, and support can help you with that. So that's a really good point. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Any way to identify phone numbers as main business cell, etc.? Yeah, when you go into an account, like I'll just go into this account right here, I can tell, like, the phone numbers will be listed there. Currently, I don't know if the icon will change, but that's a really good idea. I'm glad that you brought that up. I'll go ahead and make sure that gets into feedback. The primary phone number will always be displayed on top, but that's a good question. What if contact leaves company? Will all task info transfer to edited name? Well, yeah. If a customer, well, and you, if somebody leaves the company, that's probably better handled within the Tigerpaw application. You can mark the note in their account that they have left, and I would probably just take care of it back at Tigerpaw. And we've, in the new version of Tigerpaw, which we have yet to release, but we will have another webinar on the new features that are coming in Tigerpaw version 15, there's some additional things that we can do from that perspective, from a contact standpoint. So as far as deleting a contact from within mobile, you can't, but you can make that note, and I think that's probably good. We don't want people to delete information from our database. So that's a good question, though. How about pictures? You'll have to type another question, John. I'm not 100% sure what you mean. We can upload pictures into service orders. If that's what you were talking about, that functionality is still available. From the service order itself, you would just simply click on the camera icon. So if I went to that service order that I was working on before, and I need to add a picture, it'll actually just allow me to either grab an image from my phone, or I can access the camera itself, and I could take a picture if I want to. And that would upload to the service order as a document. Yep. Do the in-house server settings regarding module licenses and personal privilege settings carry over to mobile? Yes, it does. It's a great question. It does. Might be featured, but is the app already uploaded to the App Store? Yes, the app is already uploaded onto the App Store. For those of you that are asking that question, it is available now, and there have been changes to the back end, so you do need to do some updating on your server side as well. Our support staff would be more than happy to help you out with that, and we also have some detailed help guides that you can follow to get that done as well. Anywhere that you can enter in text. I have a good question here on talking about the mobile on the journal and whether or not you can dictate into it. Pretty much any field that you can enter text into will activate your traditional keyboard on your phone. And most of those keyboards have the dictate function. That's a phone function, not a Tigerpaw function, but it's very, very easy to do. And yes, the answer to your question is yes, it will. There's a question on whether you can see what work was requested, and of course you can. If you click on the update button on the service order to actually go into the service order view, there's actually a section on there for work requested, and you can review the work requested if you need to. Can we obtain a copy of today's presentation webinar via email? Yes, you should be getting a copy. We'll be uploading this to our website and sending out a follow-up email to those of you that could not attend and those of you that had to bow out or anything like that, or just want to show other people the great new mobile application. When you're adding to work performed and internal comments, work requested, I had a question on whether you can use the comment libraries. Yes, you can. When you tap on those, there'll be a little icon for a comment library, and you will be able to use the comment library. So that has been preserved. Does the travel time reflect the total time in the time logs of the tech, or does it just create a log for the unpaused time travel? Great question. Actually, it will reflect the entire time. So it will reflect the entire time that it took me to drive across the city. But since I stopped to get Starbucks on the way, it's going to show a deduction of about 5 minutes or however long it took me to get that coffee. So you can still accurately track your technician's time, but you're not necessarily charging the client for that. So it will track, though. It'll track detailed. It won't just track up that. Permissions are no different on the mobile app than they are in Tigerpaw, the desktop client. So I had a question on locking edits for service orders and some things like that. Whatever you have set up in Tigerpaw can be transferred over to the mobile app. And if you upgrade to the new app, but when you open up Tigerpaw it says that you're on a different web version, that means your backend API and Tigerpaw client haven't been updated. So you're going to want to go through the process of updating that, and then it will show what we have here. But the backend API and the version of Tigerpaw that you're running will influence how the mobile app looks. Time entries can be edited through the mobile app. when I was talking about the main service order page there, you could easily go down to an existing time entry and edit the time if you need to. So that's a good question. We plan on supporting all versions of Android, including new versions. So we'll run those tests, but I don't see a reason why that would not be supported. Nothing has changed from completing the app, so if you're in a service order and you are done with the work and you hit complete within the service order section will close the status automatically to a predetermined status and close out the task and all of that good stuff. If you're on site and you don't want to complete the service order but you want to complete the task, you can easily do that by, in the lower portion, the task section, just hitting complete on the task. That'll keep the service order open where you can go update it to reschedule it or whatnot. But the complete button is still there and it still works the way that it did before. When you're on a service order and you need to get a signature, I had some questions on how that looks, how that works. When you're on a service order and you need to get a signature, what you do is you tap on the little signature icon right here, or from the actual service order home screen, you would tap on the signature icon button right down here. And when you do that, it'll actually open up a little signature pad just like this, and you can sign it. And then you can save that. You can save one signature per service order. Good question. Can you reassign an opportunity? If you go into the opportunity detail, so if I open up an opportunity and I determine that this opportunity isn't probably the right opportunity for me, I can edit the opportunity and I can, what I would want to do is put in a note that basically says that this opportunity is not mine, or I would want to schedule a follow-up for a different tech. By default, we wanted to try to keep all of the information for a particular opportunity for you in there. So you can reference the opportunity owner here, but if you need to change it, you're going to want to put a note of some kind that someone can search by so that they can change that. Or you can just simply schedule a task for someone else. When adding parts to a service order, you choose. You can have a dedicated warehouse that you want to use for mobile parts that you want to put on service orders. Otherwise, it can pull from your warehouse one. You choose what warehouse it pulls parts from. It pulls from your price book list. So that's a good question. Right now, we cannot use SO templates with the mobile edition. That's a really good question. I mean, and I actually like that idea, so I'll put that into feedback. Asterisk search feature does work. If you put an asterisk when you're searching, it will operate like a wildcard like it does normally. Right now, customers cannot pay via mobile. That's a really good question. We just don't have the ability, but it is planned. At some point down the road, there may be an enhancement that will enable mobile payments. It's just not something that we have right now. And quoting is something else that is potentially planned for mobile at some point in time. But right now, we thought it was more important to put opportunities in there because that's really what people are going to be doing is working opportunities when they're out in the field, when they're at job sites, when they're at networking events, trade shows, whatnot. But nope, this is still going to continue to get better as the time goes on. So that's a really good question. And there's a question on whether we can use the AMP for inventory. That inventory is actually still locked down to the desktop client. There's a lot going on with that. We are an incredibly advanced inventory management system, and currently we do not have the capability of editing inventory in the mobile app. That's a really good question. May come at some point in time down the road, but right now we want to keep that kind of dedicated to people that are responsible for tracking inventory. When you pull an item to add to an order, it'll tell you how many you have on stock though, so it will give you inventory quantity information. It just won't let you edit or add or fill or anything like that. And that takes us to the end of the time that I have to answer the questions. You guys had great questions. I really loved answering them. If you have any other questions, you can definitely direct those questions to your sales rep. Hop into an Ask the Expert. Ask me on any of our training events that we have for Tigerpaw users. But I really do hope that you like what you saw in this session today, and I look forward to seeing you using the software. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later.